Good morning, it's Kim from the Shamrock Quilt Studio, and I'm back today with an update on our EPP project. I know you're probably sick of me saying that EPP takes a pretty good while to get it together because there's a lot of pieces that have to be put together to form our design, and it takes a lot of time to make the little pieces and everything. But we are growing this project pretty quickly at this point, and I'm ready today to share with you the next steps in our design. So join us right after this and I'll show them to you. And welcome back to the Shamrock Quilt Studio. Okay, we're back, and before I share this with you, I just want to direct your attention momentarily to what's hanging on the wall. I've rehung Modern Dresden on the wall, and this is a modern take on an old-fashioned pattern, the Dresden plate. And as we covered in the series for this project, we were marrying those two opposite kind of things together to give us a unique look. And you can find all of the videos about the decision making of the fabrics, the prints, and then how we came up with this design on the playlist called Modern Dresden. So if you're interested in this, I'd give it a look and see if it's something that you want to tackle. You can change up the fabrics or the design how you like, but it's a different take on that old-fashioned pattern. Modern Dresden is the playlist. Now back to our EPP project. You know, when we started this, we had a kind of a vague idea of what we wanted the pattern to look like. And as I started putting all the pieces together, some of the things had to change a little bit. But the design has always been to start from very neutral, soft colors and build into more dark and dramatic colors and patterns. And I think this point is where we start making that change. So what I'm showing you here is this little section of the pie where we have the three soft pastel, almost like arrowheads, and then we've joined them with an arrowhead pointing in the opposite direction to kind of give us that little shape there. And then in between those is where the new design is coming in. Okay, I think you can see this from the overhead camera, but what I'm trying to do here is to bring in this kind of sea green look. And what I've done is I've dropped in two of these little patterned pieces, just like we had here. We've repeated that in the middle of these two 3-point pieces. And then to add some depth and deep color to this, I've added in 4 pieces of this dark, almost sea green fabric. It's green, but it has a lot of blue in it. It's a perfect solid fabric. There's very little color definition as far as having a pattern or a texture to it. It's just a perfect little solid. So we've added that one each in these 2 spots and then a double piece here. So that's how we're going to build out the next few rows. It is still going to take a lot of white pieces, and one of the videos that I had recently about this, it's amazing to me how many views it's gotten, and I can't quite figure out what was different in that one than the others, but I'm glad to see it's getting a lot of exposure. So we are going to have to make more white pieces, and I need to revisit the fabric for this because in the beginning I really didn't think there would be that much white used in this project, but clearly there is. So I'm going to have to go back and look. I think this was just a plain white, and I do have a picture of the end of the bolt, so if I need to go back and get more, that's one of the things I do to ensure that I buy the same fabric and not just a similar fabric. So I'm going to look at that today as I get started to make sure that I've got enough white to keep going on this. I would probably like to make this at least another foot from the tips of these 3-piece units so that it's large enough to do something useful with. The problem with it being round is it's nice like a square quilt that you don't have to worry about it being directional, but in the same time it's not directional. So if you sit down with it on your lap, you've got as much wide as you do long, even with this round design. And the round design doesn't have any fabric in the corners, so it even makes it a little bit more difficult. I think what I'm going to do is finish this up in a square. So at some point we will get to the edge of our pattern and what we're trying to create with that pattern. And then at that point we're going to go into a process of squaring it up with these pieces, getting it as close as we can, and then deciding if we want to applique a background to make it square, or if we want to just keep making pieces and then just cut it off and bind it to the edge of the EPP pieces. We'll decide that later. But I am tickled that we're able to add these dark pieces in. And there's 4 pieces of this dark in here, which it might be a little hard to tell right like it is because they're just sitting there and they've got these little dark areas around all these because they're sitting, they're not sewn in. But it might be a little hard to tell what kind of effect that's going to have on the look of this. But we'll get this one section finished and come back and show that to you. It's going to take a while to get the rest of these in. The bigger it gets, every change takes almost exponentially longer than the last one because you're working with more pieces as you're growing it out. So I think that will be fine for us working this project through these videos because I know they have another project that's getting ready to drop in the next week or two that's going to take several weeks. So that'll give me time to work on this behind the scenes while you're enjoying that new project. And it is something kind of time sensitive, so we need to go ahead and let that drop. But I'm having fun with this. I think this is a great project. It's probably gotten too big at this point to travel. If I were going someplace overnight, I might take it with me, but I'm not taking it to an office to sit and wait unless I'm just making the little pieces, and that can go just about anywhere with you. But I do enjoy EPP. It's one of the things I really like to do the most because it's all hand sewing, and for me there's a level of satisfaction with that, absolutely creating it yourself and being the person who decides how well it's going to be done or how quickly it's going to be done. That's all up to me as the person making it. I hope you've enjoyed this video today. If you're sewing along with us, keep on going. It's hard to do a project like this when it starts getting big and it feels like it's never going to end, but it will end, and you just have to create one piece at a time and sew one piece on, and you'll get there. If you liked today's video, give us a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and share us with a friend. That's the way we get more people into our community and we can do more things here on the channel. Thanks so much again for joining us, and we'll see you next time at the Shamrock Quilt Studio. Bye.